Namaste, my dear students. In last class we have seen CGS system, FPS system, MKS system and SI system. SI system nalli we have seen that fundamental quantities. One is length. A length is measured in meter. Symbol is M. Length. ಬಟ್ 1 ಮೀಟರ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು? ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ಗೆಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಮೀಟರ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ, 1 ಮೀಟರ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ದ ಲೈಟ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ಎ ಟೈಮ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವಲ್ ಆಫ್ 1/299799245 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ಸ್. ಬೆಳಕು ಇಷ್ಟು ಸೆಕೆಂಡಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ದೂರ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೋ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ 1 ಮೀಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯುವರ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್. ಸಿಮಿಲರ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಮಾಸ್, ಅನದರ್ ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ. ಮಾಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೆಜರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಕಿಲೋಗ್ರಾಮ್. ಸಿಂಬಲ್ ಇಸ್ ಕೆಜಿ. 1 ಕೆಜಿಯನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ? 1 ಕೆಜಿಯನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೇಕನ್ cylinder mass of it is a mass of the cylinder of platinum iridium alloy kept at International Bureau of Weights and Measurements at Sevres near Paris. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದರದ್ದು ಮಾಸ್ ಅನ್ನ 1 kg ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ. Similarly time is measured in second. Symbol is yes. 1 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಅನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, it is a time interval during which light emits of a specified wavelength of cesium-133 to execute 91926317770 to execute this much vibrations. ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. this and similarly next is we have temperature, thermodynamic temperature, and temperature is mentioned in Kelvin. Symbol is capital K. ಆ ಕೆಲ್ವಿನ್ ಅನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ 1/273.16. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ 1 ಕೆಲ್ವಿನ್ ಇಸ್ ದ 1/273.16 ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ದಿ ಥರ್ಮೋಡೈನಮಿಕ್ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ಟ್ರಿಪಲ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟರ್. ಹಾಗೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೀನ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಮೋಲ್. Mole is defined using Avogadro constant. We go for the ampere. Ampere is beautifully defined in second PUC class, a concept of parallel conductors. There are 2 parallel conductors separated by 1 meter distance, and the current flows through which one in 2 narrow parallel straight conductors separated by 1 meter exerts a force of 2 into 10 power minus 7 Newton per meter on each other in free space. ಹಾಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಉಂಟು, ಲ್ಯೂಮಿನಸ್ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ, ಅದು ಕ್ಯಾಂಡೆಲಾ. ಅದನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟೆಡ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್. ಅದನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಒನ್ ಕ್ಯಾಂಡೆಲಾ ಈಸ್ ದ ಲ್ಯೂಮಿನಸ್ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಆಫ್ ಏರಿಯಾ 1/60000 meter square, kept at a temperature of freezing platinum and at a pressure of 101.325 Newton per meter square. ಆಗ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೆಳಕು ಇದು ಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇದೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಟುಕೊಳ್ಳುವ ಅಗತ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಮಗೆ ಬೇಕಾದ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಬರೆಯುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಂಥದ್ದು? ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಅಂದರೆ, ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೆ ನಾವು, force is equal to mass into acceleration. The unit of mass is kilogram. Unit of acceleration is the velocity divided by time. Velocity addu unit meter per second, time second. So this implies that ms minus 2. So unit of this is ms minus 2. ms minus 2. Okay. Now ಇದನ್ನು ನಾನು ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನಲ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಬರೆಯುತ್ತೇನೆ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ, ಮಾಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಬರೆಯುತ್ತೇವೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಮಾಸ್, ದ kg is the unit of mass, but the symbol for dimension mass capital first letter with the square brackets. So mass is represented by the first letter, capital letter with the square brackets. So mass na power 1 iruvantaddu. Idu don't confuse with the m is mass, it is a meter. So it is a length. Length is 1 and second is the unit of time minus 2. So ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ m to the power 1, l to the power 1, t to the minus 2. ಇದು ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ನದ್ದು ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ. ಸೊ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ನ ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಎಷ್ಟು? ದ ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ 1 in mass, 1 in length, minus 2 in time. ಸೊ ಈ 1 minus 2 ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ? ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನ್ಸ್. ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಪವರ್ಸ್ ಟು ವಿಚ್ ದ ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ರೇಸ್ಡ್. ಅವುಗಳೇನು? ಇವುಗಳು ಘಾತಗಳು, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋನೆಂಟ್ಸ್, powers of fundamental quantities. And this expression is called dimension formula. And the equation equating a physical quantity, by equating a physical quantity with its dimensional formula is called dimensional equation. Again, we have seen last class so many applications of dimension analysis. Now ನೋಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. To check the correctness of the equation or to find the dimensional consistency of the equation. And we have seen that the advantage is conversion of unit in one system to another system. ಒಂದು ಸಿ ಜಿ ಎಸ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ನಿಂದ ಎಸ್ ಐ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ, ಎಸ್ ಐ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ನಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ, ಅದು ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಅನಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೀನ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಹೌ ನೌ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಗೋಸ್ ಟು ಸಿ how to derive an equation. So derivation of relation, to have the relation between the physical quantities. ಇಂಥದ್ದೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು we can see that. ನಾವು ಅದರ ಮೊದಲು ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ, ಈ ಸಿಂಬಲ್ ಬರೆಯುವಾಗ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಬರೀಬೇಕು, ಯಾವುದೇ ಸಿಂಬಲ್. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ದ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ is Newton. Unit of force is Newton. ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ನಾನು ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಫುಲ್ ಬರೆದಿದ್ರೆ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್, ಸಪೋಸ್ ದ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನೇಮ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಸೈಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್, ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ರೈಟ್ ದ, ಇಫ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ರೈಟ್ ದ ಸಿಂಬಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ರೈಟ್ ಇನ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಲೆಟರ್. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ 1 Newton, 2 Newton, 3 Newton ಹೀಗೆ. ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ನೀವು ಉದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಫುಲ್ ಹೆಸರು ಬರೆದಿದ್ರೆ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಲೆಟರ್. Newton, similarly Kelvin, small k. If you wanted to write the symbol, capital K. ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಗಮನಿಸಬೇಕು, ಯಾವುದೇ ಸಿಂಬಲ್ನ ಪ್ಲೂರಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆಯುವ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ಮೀಟರ್ 5 ಮೀಟರ್ ಇದ್ರೆ 5 ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. ಕೆಲವರು ಹೀಗೆ ಬರೀತಾರೆ 5 MTR ಅಥವಾ 5 ಮೀಟರ್ಸ್, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಬರೆಯುವ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಯು ನೋಟ್ ಡೌನ್, ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ any sign, plural, there is no full stop after a unit is written. There is no full stop, any punctuations. And units are not written in plurals. ಕೆಲವರು ಸೆಕೆಂಡಿಗೆ 5 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಹೀಗೆ ಬರೀತಾರೆ, 5 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್. ಕೆಲವರು ಹೀಗೆ SECS ಹೀಗೆಲ್ಲ ಬರೆಯುವಂತಿಲ್ಲ, 5 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್, 5 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ರೂಲ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ಪ್ಲೂರಲ್ ಬರೆಯುವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಫ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟೆಡ್ ಟು ರೈಟ್ ದ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿರೈವ್ಡ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ, always write the unit with the negative indices. So for example, distance velocity is 5 meter per second. 5 meter per second. ಹೀಗೆ ಬರೆಯುವ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. how to write? Exactly you have to write 5 ms minus 1. So the symbols, the units for derived quantities, you have to write with the negative indices. Divide by per second square ಬರೆಯುವ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಂಥದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ರೂಲ್, ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ you know that, but you must know. Now, next we have seen the application of dimension analysis. One, we have seen to check the correctness of the equation, V is equal to U plus AT. What is the dimensional formula of velocity? Velocity unit is meter per second. Meter per second. Meter per second. Meter per second divided by time to the power minus 1. So this is also velocity, this is same thing, LT minus 1 plus acceleration, meter per second square LT minus 2 into t. So now this equals LT minus 1 is equal to LT minus 1 plus LT minus 1. You see this? The dimensions of this side, this term, all are same. So this equation is dimensionally correct. There is a dimensional consistency. But the disadvantage of dimension analysis, you cannot find you can say this is dimension correct, but you cannot say it is actually correct. Suppose you have 2u, then the numerical constants do not have any dimensions. So you ನೀವು 2 ಅಂತ ಬರೆದು ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು, ಬರೆದು ಕೂತ್ಬೋದು, ಯಾಕೆ ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇದು ಆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಇಕ್ವೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಇದು ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನಲಿ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. S is equal to ut plus half at square. If I say S is equal to 2ut plus at square, S is equal to 10ut plus 2ut at square, dimensionally may be correct, but it is not the actual relationship. So what is the disadvantages of dimension analysis? You can check the validity of the equation, but not the exact relationship between the physical quantities. And of course, last class we have seen those things. Now we will go derive the equation or establish a relationship between the physical quantities. This is very important. In the examination point we will ask. So we go for the expression for this. Expression for the time period of a simple pendulum. To derive the time period of a simple pendulum. What is simple pendulum? ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ಲೋಲಕ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು? ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ಲೋಲಕ ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ದಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಬಾಬನ್ನು, ಒಂದು ಬಾಲ್ ಅಥವಾ ಬಾಬ್ ಗುಂಡು ಅದನ್ನು ತೂಗು ಹಾಕಲಾಗಿದೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಟು ಆಸಿಲೇಟ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಮೂವ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್ ವೇ. So it moves like this way. So here. And so this moves. When it moves, it executes oscillations, to and fro oscillations. So ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಹೀಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಲೋ ಹೋಗಿ ಝೀರೋ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದೆ. The time taken for one oscillation, the time taken for one vibration, the time taken for one full event is called period. ಹೈಸ್ಕೂಲಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು? ಟೈಮ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಒನ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಎಷ್ಟು? 40 minutes. PU ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಗ್ರಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ 1 hour. ಸೊ ಟೈಮ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಒನ್ ಫುಲ್ event is called period. It's all time period. Time taken for one oscillation, time taken for one wave, time taken for one rotation, time taken for one vibration. ಇವುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ we can say it is a period. Time taken for one full event. Right. Now let us have we will derive the expression for a time period. Time period depends on what factors? Time period maybe depends on the length of the pendulum. It may be I do not know, it may be depends on the mass. It depends on the acceleration due to gravity. We'll see that. We will check now and get the expression. Okay. Now the period of oscillation, the time period of oscillation is directly proportional to mass, directly proportional to length, directly proportional to acceleration due to gravity. So it is directly proportional to because this is applicable only, the relation is in the form of product mass. Now the time period is directly proportional to mass, length, g. We do not know it is directly proportional to square of the mass or cube root of mass. Let the power is x, this power is y, this power is z, or t is equal to k m to the power x, l to the power y, and g to the power z. Now our duty is to find the x, y, z. Then we will get the expression for period. Okay. Now you know the any equation is you can check. We have seen that we have checked the validity of the equation. There should be dimensional consistency. So this side, whatever the dimensions, must have the dimension, that side also. Therefore, I'll write, so the dimension of this m power 0 time L power 0 t power 1. This is the dimension of t is equal to k. Now this is m power x or m power x. This is L power y and g. G is the acceleration, ms minus 2, ms minus meter second minus 2, meter lt minus 2 to the power z. Okay. Now we have to equate the dimension of this side and that side so that we can solve x, y, z. If you know x, y, z, then you can substitute and you will get the equation. This is equation 1. Let this equation is 1. Okay. Now fine. Now I'll compare the dimensions of the left side and right side. So m to the power x, m to the power 0. So compare m power 0 is equal to m power x. So this implies that x is equal to 0. Now so this equation again goes m to the power x and L to the y, here L to the power z. So y plus z and okay, repeat. This equals k m to the power x L to the power. I think this need not write because any constants, it is a dimensional constant. K is the dimensional constant. So it has dimensional constant, numerical value and numerical constant. So it doesn't have any dimensions. So therefore, m to the power x, L to the power y, here L to the power z. So L to the power y plus z and t to the power minus 2z, minus 2z. Minus 2z. Okay. Now I can compare with this. That is m power 0, L power 0, t power 1. So x is equal to 0, y plus z is equal to 0, minus 2z is equal to 1, minus 2z. So t to the power minus 2z is equal to, so t power 1 is equal to t power minus 2z. So this implies that minus 2z is equal to 1. This implies that z is equal to minus half. Next go for L. So this is L power 0 is equal to L power y plus z. This implies that y plus z is equal to 0. This implies that y is equal to minus z is equal to minus z. Z is equal to minus half. So that is minus of minus half is equal to half. Now we got the powers and you can substitute here. We will get the relation. That's all. So I'll write t now equation from equation 1. We have from equation 1 we have t is equal to k m to the power x, that is 0, L to the power y, y is equal to half and g to the power z is equal to minus half. And this I'll write, so K L to the power half divided by G to the power half. This equals K root L divided by root G, or this equals K root L divided by G. This is the expression for time period. And K is found. So from the numerical analysis, from the dimension analysis, we cannot find the value of the numerical constants. That is the limitation. And that is, K is found using some other experiment. That value is 2 pi. And we can substitute, K is equal to 2 pi in that equation. So the equation now, T is equal to 2 pi square root of L by G. So this is the expression of time period. And the expression we got using dimensional analysis. This is the advantage. But the limitation, we cannot find the value of K using this analysis. That is by some other experiment we have calculated 2 pi. So this is the expression for time period. Now, in case of measurement, we have some terms. When we do measurement, there may be some errors. We have to see the accuracy, precision. What is accuracy? Accuracy is the closeness of the measured value to the true value, and precision is the limit or resolution to which the measurement has done. Of course, we have accuracy, precision, but there is an error calculation is also important. Now, what is error? Error is the difference between the true value and measured value. And there are different types of error. One is a systematic error. Another is a random error. What is systematic error? Systematic error is the error due to the faulty calibration of the device, or it is the maybe the faulty operation or faulty design of the device. For example, is zero error. I think what is zero error, least count, all those things we are going to study in our laboratory. Least count is one which counts the least, the measurement, least measurement has done, that is the least count. Of course, different formula is there. We will study that. Now, systematic error is the error due to the faulty calibration or the faulty wrong operation or wrong design. And random error is called chance error. It is an accidental error. For example, voltage fluctuation. So these two types of errors may occur. But the commonly used terms in error analysis is, one is absolute error, relative error, percentage error. If I define, how to define the absolute error, what is the relative error, what is the percentage error, before I give the definition, I think I will solve a problem. Then you will understand what are the different errors, how we can define. For example, one problem I'll give you, I'll solve that. The time period of oscillation of a simple pendulum is recorded. Time period, this is a simple pendulum. So simple pendulum is this. This is the simple pendulum, and it is oscillations. Oscillations have done, and the time taken for one oscillation is period. Time taken for one oscillation is period. I have calculated the period in different trials. So one trial is recorded as, the time period is recorded as 2.56 seconds. Another trial is 2.62 seconds. Another trial 2.7 seconds, 2.58 seconds, and 2.45 seconds. So the time period of a second pendulum is recorded in different experiment trials. In one trial, 2.56 seconds. What is the time period? It is a time taken for one oscillation, to and fro oscillation. Okay. So this is in one trial 2.56 seconds. In another trial, I have found the time period 2.62, 2.7, 2.58 and 2.45 seconds. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trials have done. 5 trials have done. Now, we have to calculate different errors. Before that, I'll go for that. What is the mean value? Sometimes we go for the average. So different trials are there, but we go for the average. So I'll go for the average here. So the mean of the measured values. So mean of the measured values. I'll go for the mean of the measured values. A mean. What is A mean? So there are different trials. A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4 plus A5 and divided by 5 trials, 5. So using, if there are n terms, A6, A7 plus A7 dot plus AN divided by n. If there are n terms, okay. Now there are 5 terms, 5 measurements. So I'll go for the mean value, mean value. So mean value is, this is the mean value of the measurement, average value of the measurement. Different trials are there. The average value A mean. So I'll do this, and 2.56 plus 2.62 plus 2.7, 2.58, 2.45 divided by, there are 5 trials, 5. So you can calculate this, and this will come 2.582 second. 2.582 second is the, it is the mean value, it is the mean value, Okay. Now, I wanted to calculate the absolute error, So absolute error, to calculate the absolute error, what is the absolute error? It is the, absolute error is the difference between the, it is the difference between the measured value and mean of the measured value. Absolute error is the difference between the measured value and mean of the measured value. So mean of the measured value. I have calculated mean of the measured value. These are the different measured values. This is the mean of the measured value. Now I'll find the absolute error. So 1, how to find the absolute error? That equals absolute error. So I'll go for the first trial number 1. And trial number 1 is 2.56 minus mean value. So this is the formula. It is the first trial A1 minus mean of the measured value. So mean of the measured value is this. And I'll substitute here 2.582. So that equals 0.022 second. This is the absolute error. And you can calculate, this is one absolute error. Even you can calculate second trial, third, fourth, fifth. If you go for, this is A1. So this is A1. This absolute error is A1. Next, go for another case. So this is the absolute error. I'll write the absolute error. Okay. And now I'll go for the next case. Delta A2. This is delta A1 is equal to 2.62 minus 2. This is the mean value, and that equals 0.038. Similarly, you calculate delta A3. That equals 2.7 minus 2.582. Similarly, delta A4. That equals 2.58 minus 2.582. And delta A5. That is 2.45 minus 2.582. and you calculate this, and this will come 0.118 second and 0.002 second and 0.032 second. And if you go for the average, you this and this add and divided by 5 items. So this plus this plus this plus this plus this divided 5, mean of the absolute error mean is equal to, I'll give the answer, adding this plus this plus this plus this plus this plus this plus this divided by 5. So that gives the mean value. That value is 0.0624 second. 0.4 second. Now see, this is the mean of the measured value. This is the mean of the measured value. This is the mean of the measured value. Okay. What is the definition of the error? Absolute error is the difference between the measured value and mean of the measured value. Measured value and mean of the measured value. These are all measured value. This is mean of the measured value. And next we go for the relative error. Relative error is the mean of the measured value divided by mean of the measured value. Now I think I'll calculate this delta A mean. Now we can calculate the absolute error. So different absolute errors are this. Different absolute error. And this is the mean of the measured value. Now we calculate. This is over. We have calculated absolute error. Absolute error is the difference between the measured value and mean of the measured value. We have calculated mean of the measured value, and we have calculated the absolute errors. What is it? Absolute error. Absolute error is the difference between the measured value and mean of the measured value. Mean of the measured value you should calculate. What is the mean of the measured value? Delta A mean is equal to, you have to add all those things. And divided by this. You have to add this and this and divide by 5. You will get, in this problem, the answer is delta A mean is equal to, so you have to add all the 5 absolute errors and you have to add this and you will get the answer here. This is 0.0624. If you add all those things and divide by 5, this is the delta A mean. Now relative error is the 0.0624 and relative error is the delta A mean and A mean. We have calculated 2.582. This is 2.582 and this will come 0.02416. How to find the percentage error? So it is expressed in percentage. Relative error into 100%. So this into 100%, 0.02416 into 100, that equals 2.4. So 2.4%. This is how we can define. I think some combination of errors also there. Unless you solve some problems in the textbook, you cannot find out. See this, I'll repeat. Commonly terms use absolute error. Absolute error is the difference between the measured value and mean of the measured value. But note down, this I think you may confuse with the plus or minus sign, but this is always positive. Absolute error is always positive. You have to subtract bigger one and smaller one. And relative one error is the mean of the relative error to the mean of the measured value. And this, of course, when you solve some other problems in the textbook, you will get some more errors calculation, combination of errors, all those things. Now the concept of significant figures. In any measurement, the number of reliable digits plus one uncertain digit are known as significant figures. I repeat, in any measurement, the number of reliable digits and plus one uncertain digit. For example, this is the case, 15.8 centimeter. In this case, these two digits are significant, reliable digits, and of course, reliable digits, and this is uncertain digit. For example, you measure, so the here to here, you can measure this. So measurement is like this way. And here, this point is, for example, this point is 6.6, and the measurement is little above 6.6. It is not 6.7. So for example, this is the 6.7, let it be. And the measurement is here. Measurement is here. How we can measure? In this scale, only 6.6 and 6.7. In between, there are no digits. So shall I take 6.6? No, because it is more than. Shall I take 6.7? It is less than that. So just by judgment, I can write 6.65. But 6.6 reliable digits and 5 is not certain digits. We have in these two are reliable, this is uncertain. So 165.8 meter. So these three are reliable digits and this is uncertain digits. We will have some rules. We will have set of rules. All non-zero digits as well as zeros between non-zero digits are significant. I repeat, all non-zero digits and as well as the zeros between the non-zero digits are significant. I'll give the example. 5, 1. How many digits are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 digits are. In this case, significant figure is 5. Suppose 2, 3, 0, 4, 5. Significant figure is 5. So, you just got it. All non-zero digits as well as zeros between non-zero digits are significant figures. Okay. Now, zeros to the left of the non-zero digits are not significant. Zeros to the left of the non-zero digits. For example, I go for 0.00234. What are the significant? This is zeros to the left of the non-zero digits. Zeros to the left of the non-zero digits are not significant figures. So here the significant figure is only 3. So significant figure is only 3. If you go for 0.00004, what is the significant figure here? The same rule. Zeros to the left of the non-zero digit are not taken. So here the significant figure is 1. I'll go for next is zeros appearing at the end of a number without decimal point are not significant. Without decimal point are not significant. With the decimal point are significant. Without a decimal point, I'll go for this. Rule number 3. Zeros appearing at the end of the number without a decimal point. For example, 23400. What are the significant figures here? Significant figure is zeros appearing at the end of a number without a decimal point are not significant. So this is only significant is 3. Significant figure is 3. Now 2, 3, 4, 0, 0, 0. Significant figure is 1, 2, 3. It is also only 3. I'll go for significant figure is now. So this is, you note down, very important. Without decimal point are not significant, but with the decimal point, I'll write with the decimal point. With the decimal point 2, 3, 4, 0, 0 point. So this is the point. Now the number of digits, decimal point is here. Decimal point is here. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here, sorry, without decimal point is 3. The rule, zeros appearing at the end of a number or without decimal point are not significant. It has only 3. But with the decimal point, significant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The decimal significant figure is 5. See the difference. See the difference here. So you just the zeros appearing at the end of a number, zeros appearing at the end of a number without a decimal point not significant. You should not consider these two. But with the decimal point, it should be considered. With the decimal point, they are also significant figures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll go for this is the case. 234.00. Now, what is significant figures? Decimal point is there. With the decimal point are significant. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So therefore, my dear students, in physics there is a big difference between 2.0 and 2.00 and 2 because of the accuracy, precision, significant figures. Okay. Now in this chapter, how to measure mass. Mass is widely varies from the mass of the electron 9.1 into 10 power minus 31 kg to mass of the galaxy into 10 power 40 to 1 kgs, like that way, galaxies. But smallest mass is the atomic mass unit. It is the 1/12 the mass of the carbon-12 isotope. Largest mass is the Chandrasekhar limit. One Chandrasekhar limit, 1 CSL is equal to 1.4 times the mass of the sun. And other masses we can weigh using physical balance, chemical balance, like that way. In mass spectrograph, you can weigh the mass of the molecules, atoms, etc. Okay. In first PU, one important question they'll ask, what is the method to measure the heavenly planets, like big masses? And answer is, the mass of extremely heavier object like Earth is measured by gravitational method. So this is a gravitational method. So heavy masses can be measured by this. Very small masses can be measured by mass spectrograph. Normal masses, physical balance, chemical balance, equal arm balance, like that way. Similarly, next we go for atomic mass unit, very small unit, atomic mass unit. One atomic mass unit means 1/12 the mass of the carbon atom, carbon-12 isotope. Okay. Now measurement of length. How we can measure the length? How we can measure the length? One important method is there. That is parallax method. What is parallax? Parallax. For example, you hold a pen. You just like this way. This is the pen. You hold the pen against you towards a fixed point and observe the point closing one eye. Next, you observe the same point closing another eye. Then you know the shift, there is a shift in the position of the object. This shift is called parallax. This shift is called parallax. What is parallax? Parallax is the change in the position of the object when it is observed from two different points. It is a change in the position of the object when it is observed from two different points is called parallax, and the distance between the 2 points of observation is called basis. In this case, the distance between the eye is the basis. What is the advantage of this method? We can measure the very long distance from the Earth to any planet. Let me think of planet is here. Planet is here. This is the planet. And the planet is observed from the 2 points, different points on the Earth, like observatories. One point is here, another point is here. So you observe it. This is observed in this is observed like this way. And this distance is the basis. These are the 2 points of observation. A and B are the 2 points of observation of the planets, and the direction along the points of observation is called, this angle is called parallax angle. This is the parallax angle. So the angle subtended at the object, angle subtended by the basis at the object is called parallax angle. And this distance, let this d, this distance d. Now, same idea, what I told you, a point is observed, this like this, then there is a shift, and this shift is the parallax, and the distance between the 2 points of observations, basis, the angle subtended by the base at the object is parallax angle or parallactic angle. Now, you can find the distance. How to find the distance? We know this is the case. This idea, this is an arc. This is a part of the sphere. This is the center. And if you go for this is the arc length S, this angle theta, this is the radius. So we have arc length S is equal to r theta, right? And same idea is extended here. When this distance d is very much larger than this distance AB, basis, this is the B, and this distance, then this can be considered as arc. So same idea, then theta is equal to S by R, B by D, and D is equal to you can calculate B by theta. You can find the large distance. This is the parallax method. Thank you very much.